Свобода. Эманация западной цивилизации. Радио Запад. Радио свободных людей.
Well, we're back in the studio, Hawk Talk with you, and my guest today is Todd Strand. Todd Strand is entrepreneur. Hi, Todd.
Hey, Mix, I am honored to be invited to be part of your audience.
I'm honored to have you here, and all that we're talking about will be translated into Russian, dubbed into Russian, and we're going to have it in Russian and in English, but most of our audience are Russian people. So my questions today, I want to discuss with you the idea of network marketing and direct sales, because we had a lot of confusion in our audience about that. So I just wanted to first ask you, how long did you do it?
I am now entering my 29th year in this industry. I'm 52, about to be 53, and I've been full-time in this industry ever since I was 24.
And you're still alive. You're still flying, right? You're still flourishing. You didn't get broke with all that. You didn't lost everything, right?
Yeah, in fact, my wife and I recently had our story featured in this book. So this is a brand new book that came out. We got put on the front cover of the book. And so, yes, life has been incredible, unbelievable, but that wasn't always the case. Mix, when I first started in this industry, I struggled. I didn't know how to build it. I didn't know what it took to go out and share the concept with people. And so I had a rough beginning. It took me a couple of years to figure out how to do this. But once I figured it out, I mean, it's been unbelievable. And today we have a 7-figure business, without employees, without any overhead, without bookkeeping, without all the regulatory type requirements, without inventory and without, accounts payable, without all that stuff that can bog you down in business. I mean, we have a team that's all over the world, and it's the most incredible thing.
But you were involved with regular type of business first.
Correct. I got started in business when I was 13. I had a lawn and landscape company, which grew and grew. When I was in high school, I had 2 cars. I had kids working for me. I was a rich little kid. Hamburgers for everybody. When I graduated high school, I borrowed $100,000 from the Small Business Administration. We had 10 trucks on the road, 25 employees, which meant I had 250 headaches. We had, all this equipment, and we had to have mechanics fixing the equipment, and we were doing all kinds of jobs, and we had trouble getting paid. You got to sue people just to get paid. And then you got all these different, requirements that are happening with like our chemicals and how you store the chemicals and all the OSHA laws and human resources and unemployment insurance. And, the equipment can only be amortized so fast, and you still got a tax bill you got to pay, and then you got to replace the equipment. This was a challenging thing. And so when I first learned about the network marketing industry, I was actually in Chicago, Illinois. I was with a gentleman who was making over $60,000 per month, which back in 1993 when I met this gentleman, that's like $160,000 a month today. He was making incredible money, and he's like, no warehouses, no employees, no bookkeeping. I'm like drooling all over myself. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to go into the network marketing business because it was an industry that didn't have all that capital intensity of the industry that I was in. I could get started for a couple $100, and I could, tell a few and build a team everywhere and build this massive residual income that was no longer going to require me having to work every single day. And so I got very excited about that. In fact, too excited. I told my younger brother, hey, you can have this lawn and landscape business, which he still does to this day. And I went into the network marketing business full time. Now, Mix, this was a horrible idea. There's not one book on the planet that would tell you this is a good idea. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never done it before. I didn't have the skill set to go out and kind of share the company and the product with people. I didn't have the contact base. And so I went into it full steam, and I went flat broke. Next thing you know, I'm living in the basement on a futon of a couple of kids that I had recruited from the University of Illinois. They were going to school there. They had a townhouse. I had recruited them into my business, and they were kind enough to let me sleep in their basement on a futon. And Mix, I just kept, smiling and dialing. I was willing to do it long enough until I had a breakthrough. I learned the skill set, and of course today we have a 7-figure business, and it's all over the world, and it's the most incredible thing. But sometimes you got to go through some struggle at the beginning before you get good at something. But that's true of everything. You didn't just, go to sign up and go to a quick class to learn how to fly an airplane. You didn't go to sign up and go to a quick class to learn how to be a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a policeman, or even how to run a backhoe. I mean, the skill set required to thrive in this industry is less than the skill set that's required to succeed in doing the things that most of you are already doing. You just haven't learned this skill set, but this skill set pays infinitely more.
Well, the big issue that we face in Russian-speaking audience, and it actually people don't trust that it's a decent business, because we got a lot of scam that was going under the cover of like pretended to be like a direct sale companies, but in fact it was a pyramids. And with this stuff, a lot of people lost their money, and it's so bad reputation. So even now I'm trying, it's been a while, it's like 30 years ago, but even now I'm trying to talk to people, and a lot of people telling me like something, hey, it's a scam, you will just put your money, then they will take your money and run and all that stuff, So how would you react on that? What would you tell about that? Because I see that you're not running anywhere, you work in this business and you live in a good life. So
yeah, I would say, number one, you always have to do your due diligence on whatever it is you're about to get involved with. And I think it's a healthy thing to look at any company with a critical eye and say, hey, is this thing valid? Is there credibility here? Is there a track record? I think those are all very important and valid questions before you get involved in any endeavor. But I think that a history lesson here also helps. All of those kinds of things that people say today about network marketing, they said those things and a lot worse back in the 1950s about franchising. Back then, the media ran all kinds of articles about this franchising scam, and they're going to charge you money just for their idea, for their way of doing business. Don't fall for that McDonald's scam. Don't fall for that Burger King scam. There was even a movement in the United States Congress to outlaw franchising altogether. And of course, network marketing is going through a similar evolution. But we are 30 years behind the franchising evolution, right? That got started before we did. And so we're going through that similar evolution. But today, when you look at the network marketing industry, it is a $200 billion per year industry, or somewhere in that neighborhood. Not quite, but we're very, very close, which means that we are 20 times the size as the National Football League. It means that we are bigger than the NFL, or if you prefer European soccer, because they're about the same size. So we're bigger than, European football or the NFL, either one, combined with the movie industry, the music industry, the organic food industry combined. All those industries combined are smaller than the network marketing industry. 128 million people now participate in the network marketing industry, and that number goes up every single day. That's more than the population of France and Spain combined. Today, you can find all kinds of billionaires that are involved and promoting the network marketing industry. That may shock a lot of people, because you got a lot of friends and family. Oh no, hey, stay away. That's bad, right? And these are people who are having trouble paying their bills. And yet, if you look at Warren Buffett, the fifth richest man in the world, he owns 3, not 1, not 2. He owns 3 network marketing companies. He said in Fortune magazine, dollar for dollar, best investment ever made. If you look at Citibank, that is one of the largest financial institutions in the United States. Yeah. In fact, Citibank's bigger than a lot of European countries. They own a very large, network marketing company that people might call a scam, but it's one of the biggest in the entire United States. If you look at Richard Branson, the billionaire from the United Kingdom, he owns Virgin Airlines, Virgin Galactic. He's putting people in space. He was the keynote speaker at the network marketing convention saying, hey, this is the direction you ought to go. And there's lots of other billionaires. There's politicians like Tony Blair, the former prime minister of the United Kingdom, the current prime minister of India, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. Even famous politicians have said incredible things that the network marketing industry is something that you should be paying attention to. And for some people that they're skeptical, that's a healthy thing. But for a lot of people, they're behind on their reading, and they're not reading the times right. They're not realizing that this is a major trend that is happening, that people today no longer believe that I can go to school, get good grades, get a degree, get a job, and it's all going to be okay. No one believes that anymore. And so today you see the explosion of people. They got a side hustle. They're participating in what's called the gig economy. They're driving Uber, they're driving Lyft, they're delivering food for different kinds of apps. They're selling things on Amazon and eBay. They're involved with Airbnb. They're making videos on YouTube and hoping it'll go viral. They can sell advertising against the viral video. But people are embracing all of these independent entrepreneurial platforms. And the greatest version of all of those is the network marketing industry.
Yeah, I would say rather that education now is on that level where you never can expect anything from it. Sometimes I feel like people hire those who less educated even because when you go to store, you always trying to find a specialist who can help you, and I'm facing troubles all the time finding people who understand what they do. So I guess that's really the big problem. We have now the city where it, of course, we talking on our channel, we talking all the time. We're mostly talking about politics, and with what's going on in Europe, we have a bunch of people that relocated now to the United States, to European countries, from Ukraine, even from Russia, people who persecuted there with a hostile regime. And of course, they coming here in the age of like 40s, 50s. They have to start from the very beginning. They have to start their life from new. And they cannot evaluate their diplomas. They cannot really get into industry they used to, and some people have language issues. They cannot just work because they can't speak the language of the country they moved to, or even if they can speak, if you're a journalist, like I'm a journalist, but I'm writing books in English, but even with this, I'm not sure I could work as a reporter on a daily basis and doing stuff like that, because still I have some barriers in my language. So what would you suggest if people trying to find their way, and maybe network marketing could be the answer for people like this?
Yeah, number one, I mean, for anyone that has been displaced, obviously because of what's happening over there, and the conflicts that are happening in Europe, I mean, that's heart-wrenching to see people be, upended from their homes and what they've known and what they've done, and the families and the communities they've built. And my heart and prayers go out to anyone that has happened to. But the Bible teaches us that oftentimes a setback is really a setup for something greater. And just again, from a historical perspective, it has been proven, especially for the people who have come to the United States or other places where they can engage in capitalism and free enterprise. But if you are coming to the United States, meaning you were not born here, you have a 6 times greater chance of becoming a millionaire in the United States if you were never born here. And that's because a lot of the people that come here, they have no choice but to embrace entrepreneurial endeavors. And because they embrace those endeavors, they make a lot more money because it's a capitalistic society. Our entire economy is based on capitalism. You're never going to get rich working for somebody else. You're never really going to get ahead and get into the promised land with a job, right? You're exchanging time for money. And the only real way to ever get ahead is you got to own a business. And of course, obviously, owning businesses is capital intensive. My lawn care business, right? Just mowing grass costs $100,000. I mean, to do what we were doing. If you want to buy a Subway, those cost, $300,000 to get started. By the way, it takes 9 years to break even, and 4,000 Subways have gone out of business in just the last couple of years. I mean, that's not even a guarantee you're going to have a success. But even if you do pay the $300,000 for the Subway, you take the 8, 9, 10 years to break even. If you're one of the fortunate ones that, okay, man, I made it through all of that. I paid back all of that money. I didn't go out of business. The average Subway franchise owner only earns about $40,000 per year. You're still broke. I mean, you just bought another job. And so, trying to get any kind of business going is tough. And so when you look at the network marketing business, this is an industry where you can get started for a couple $100. And so even that idea that I'm going to lose all my money, I mean, how? It costs a couple $100 to get started. I mean, you'll spend that this weekend at dinner and a movie. And so it doesn't cost hardly any money to get started. The capital that you're going to spend here is not your money, but rather your time. You're going to spend some time sharing the product, the service, whatever you're representing with other people. You can sell that product, make money, but you can build a team of people who are also selling the product. And now you've got leverage because that team can grow, that team can spread. And that's what happened for my wife and I. We had found a unique product, and we told people about it. And my gosh, it spread to 63 different countries, Mix. I mean, I got a team in Japan. If you can't tell, I don't speak Japanese. I got a team in France. I don't speak French. I got a team in Spain. I don't speak Spanish. I have a team in Morocco. I don't speak Arabic. There's a team in Kazakhstan, but I don't speak Russian, Ukrainian, or any other language. But I told a few who told a few. And because the network and the sales keep going up, I get a small percentage of all that activity. My check keeps going up. And I could build that empire starting with a couple $100, starting part-time. I mean, this is something you can do in the nooks and the crannies of your day. And so I don't have to give up my job and bet the farm on I'm going to make it with a Subway or a construction business or whatever other kind of business might be out there. But instead, I can embrace capitalism in a micro way and work my way into something incredible.
Okay. About sharing the product, there is another concern that people say, like, I've heard it many times, like, well, I had a good friend. We had a lot in common. We had a lot of subjects to talk about. Then he got in that pyramid thing. And now he's just talking about that thing all the time. And I cannot talk. We cannot be friends anymore because he just don't talk about music or movies or books he read. He just always trying to sell me that thing. So what would you say about that?
I had a friend, and their son was unbelievably talented, and he got really good at sports, and he became so good that that's all the guy ever talked about was how great his kid was, and this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and that also got tiring, right? I mean, if you go monopolize any conversation, I don't care what it's about, whether it's about sports, politics, business, if you become too obsessed where that's all you talk about, you are going to alienate a lot of friends, right? It doesn't just have to be about the business. And so, yes, if you're beating up your friends, you're constantly talking about the business, yeah, you're going to alienate people. The same is true if you talk about politics or sports or any other thing that may just dominate the conversation to the point of exhaustion. Instead, you have to learn the correct way to do our business, right? We're in the sorting business, not the convincing. We are looking for people who are looking. If I shared this with my friend, they're like, nah, not for me. I'm good with that, right? I mean, because I'm looking for people who are looking. I might say, hey, do you mind if I keep in touch with you and let you know how it's going? But I'm not going to keep calling them and calling them and calling them and tell them about something that they don't want to know about. And that's a mistake that people make in this industry. That's the incorrect way to do it. And that's the way, if I were to do a root canal on you, Mix, let's pretend I'm a dentist, and I do it the incorrect way, well, that's going to be painful, right? So, but when you do something the correct way, you would never do those things. You would never alienate your friends.
Okay, so we know that this industry gets some decent companies that been there forever, or at least for years, like Mary Kay, like Oriflame, like Trevorium, like all the companies like this. So, but how would you, if I would call you tomorrow and say, hey, Todd, I got a great company you should get in. It's a network marketing. It's so awesome. And I will start telling you, and you listening to me, what could be the red flags for you that you're like, oops, something wrong with it? Is there something that you can suggest, or if you know already what may illustrate that this is not really a good company, or it's not, maybe you need to check it twice or something like that?
Yeah, it's a number of things that could go into what makes a good company, which, by the way, is not just true of network marketing. That is also true of any business, right? I mean, there are people who, go to these places where you can pitch venture capitalists on investing in your company, investing in your idea. And those venture capitalists are looking at all those different businesses and trying to say, hey, not a chance, ain't going to happen, no way, that's a pipe dream. They're looking for those few good ideas that are out there. And that just because there's a lot of bad ideas doesn't mean there's not a few great ideas. And that's what entrepreneurialism is all about. And I don't think that people should be so fearful that maybe I tried a couple of things that didn't work. The most important thing is that you try. I'd rather you tell me you tried 5 things that it didn't work than told me, nah, I'm so afraid something's going to fail that I never tried anything, because, that's never going to get you to where you want to go. You can't steal second base with your foot on first. And so, number one, don't be too fearful, but there are some things you can look for. Number one, do they have a real product? I mean, is this something that you would buy or something you could be excited about, even if there was no chance to make money? And so that's a pretty good, smell test, right? Do I have something here that, man, this product's really great? And I'd buy this even if there was no chance to make money. I would tell my friends about this, even if there was no chance to make money. And I think when you have that kind of product, then you say, hey, is there some credibility to the company? And who are the people that are running the company? Do they have any money? They have a success track record? Is this somebody that's actually done some things before? Have they been in business for a while? So there's some things like that you can ask. But if you just do even those two things, I think that you'd be on the right track to finding that thing that's going to absolutely work for you. And I can tell you one more, Mix. You may find a company that you get involved with that doesn't work for you, but then somebody else gets involved with that company and it really works for them. And then you get involved with a company that maybe didn't work for your best friend, but it's doing incredible things for you. And so sometimes your different companies resonate with different people. Just like I may go watch a movie, Mix, like, man, that was the greatest movie I ever saw. And I tell you about it, you go watch, like, I don't see it. I mean, I didn't think that movie was that good at all, because we're all different people, right? You like different songs than I like. You like different movies than I like. You like different books. You like, even tasting a mate, right? You may see some person, at church or out and like, man, I think they're very, very attractive. And someone else is the same person, like, yeah, they're cute, but I wouldn't say they're that attractive. Like, what are you, crazy? I mean, look at them. And so we all have different preferences. And I think you're going to find the same is true in this kind of business, where you may get involved and, man, you hit it out of the park, and for someone else, it's just not their thing, and vice versa. You may have tried something that wasn't your thing, but just keep trying till you find that thing that, man, I got an unbelievable product. I'm telling some people really dig it. They love it. They're sharing it. And now I've got true residual income. And that's really the bigger thing that they're not teaching in school today, Mix. That this idea, again, of go to school, get good grades, get a degree, get a job. I mean, that's just not getting it done for people anymore. And the thing you have to learn, if you study money, if you read books on how to become successful, the number one thing everybody's teaching, talk about the billionaires, the millionaires, the consultants, the number one that they're teaching is that you have to develop a stream of income that is not dependent upon your day-to-day effort. And so you have to graduate. A job is maybe a great place to start, right? I got to put some food on the table, some gas in my gas tank, put a roof over my head. But a job is where you start. That is not where you want to finish. You need to finish at a place where, man, I got money, a stream of income that's coming in, whether I work or not. In fact, if I were to be light beamed off the planet today, my wife and I, we have 3 daughters. If her and I were to, go away and we're no longer here on planet Earth, our 3 daughters would inherit our business. They would each inherit a multiple 6-figure per year residual income, money that's coming in month after month, year after year, that's not dependent upon them to do anything other than cash the check, right? And so that's where you want to get to. You want to get to that place. And that's not easy to do. I mean, you could buy an apartment building and have all those people paying that rent every month. I mean, that's one way to do it. But a lot of you are like, yeah, but I don't have the money for the apartment building. You could buy a McDonald's. They cost $2 million. It's not, I don't have the $2 million. You could, go put your money in the market like Warren Buffett and have your money make you money. And some of you are like, yeah, Todd, I got so little money to invest that even a good return wouldn't buy me a Starbucks coffee, right? So for you, hey, a couple $100, you can leverage your time and develop a stream of income that's more powerful than any of those businesses I just mentioned. But I can start with next to nothing. I can start part-time. I can work it in the nooks and crannies of the day. And by the way, you're also going to tap into amazing tax deductions here if you live in the United States. The tax savings alone are going to save you thousands of dollars, even if you don't succeed in the venture. So I'm always kind of, curious when people turn down our industry, because I know it's more because of a lack of understanding, more so than the fact that they don't like what our industry can do for them.
So, because there is so many ideas that this all is a pyramid thing, could you maybe explain the difference between the network marketing and a pyramid? Because a lot of people just believe it's the same thing. And I'm always telling them that pyramids are even, as far as I know, it's legally rebuked in the United States.
Yeah, so typically, sometimes when people say pyramid thing, they don't always mean illegal pyramid. Sometimes they just couldn't think of the word network marketing, multi-level marketing. Many people will use the pyramid word, and they don't mean that it's illegal, because it's clearly not. I mean, Herbalife does $4 billion a year in sales. Amway, $10 billion a year in sales. I mean, the owners are among the Forbes richest 400 people in America. They own the Amway Center. They own the Orlando Magic. I mean, they own one of the biggest sports teams in the United States. And so again, I mean, these are people who've hit the various highest heights. So the legitimacy of our industry should not be in question. But there are companies that go out there, they don't have a product. Again, there's no real product. They say, hey, we're selling these pins. They cost $150 each, but don't worry about the product. If you get enough people to give you $150, here's how the pay program pays. Clearly, we're not selling pins, right? We're just selling some kind of a money scheme. And that's where you can kind of get into some issues. So again, do you have a real product that you would buy, even if there was no chance to make money? Would you actually tell people about this, even if there's no chance to make money? That usually gets you out of any kind of the illegal kind of stuff and back into the stuff that's legal. But going back to the pyramid thing, right? And it's kind of funny that people always harp on this pyramid thing, because the truth is that almost every form of business we know of forms a pyramid. If I were to talk about the place that you happen to work, I could say, hey, who makes the most money? You'd say, well, the CEO. Well, who makes the second most amount of money? Well, you'd say the executive vice presidents. Who makes the third? Vice presidents. Who makes the fourth? Assistant vice presidents. Who makes the next? Supervisors. Who makes the least? People like me at the bottom doing all the work. You're in a pyramid. You just have to be at the bottom of the pyramid, right? And what are the chances of you getting from the bottom to the top? Ain't going to happen. And so you're stuck in this structure, right? But that is not true in a good network marketing company. In a network marketing company, you could have 100 people above you, and you make more money than all of them, because this is based on it's a meritocracy. It's based on what you do. If you go out and create more sales, you create more teams, you do more work, you get paid more money. Isn't that how it should be? I mean, sure, maybe some people above you get a little piece of the action, but you can make a lot more money than the people above you. That cannot happen at the place most people work. And so one of the greatest ironies of all is that you're stuck in a pyramid. And when you look at a network marketing company, only the theory of it forms a pyramid. The truth is they come out like a pyramid on top. They come down very, 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 very deep. Looks more like the Washington Monument than the pyramids of Egypt. And then they eventually shrink at the bottom. Now, again, name one other form of business that does not form a pyramid besides network marketing. If we were talking about the Catholic Church, you got the Pope, you got the cardinals, you got the bishops, you got the priests, you got the deacons, you got the congregation. If we're talking about the military chain of command, you got the generals, and then all the way down through the colonels and the captains and the lieutenants and the sergeants, all the way down to the privates, right? If we were talking about the United Way or any kind of a fundraising group, there's somebody at the top. And I mean, everything you can think of forms a pyramid, with the exception of network marketing. And so again, I think that sometimes people, again, have this kind of misperception. They don't understand the business. It's not really the door-to-door selling business that people think it is. It's really more about sharing something that you really like, something that you're passionate about, something that really resonated with you. And again, we do that every day. We tell people, oh man, I went and saw this movie. It was fantastic. You got to go see the new Mission Impossible movie. You got to go see that movie, The Sound of Freedom. I was blown away. I had no idea those kinds of things were going on. And so again, we do this every day. We did this when you think about Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram have roughly 3 billion users, and yet they never once advertised ever on television. They never ran a advertisement in a magazine or on a radio ad. So how do you get 3 billion users? And if you think back, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I invited my friends, and my friends invited their friends, and their friends invited their friends, and their friends invited their friends. Well, all of that made Mark Zuckerberg one of the 10 richest men in the world. Now, did he share that money with the very people, all of us, that brought him all of those customers that made him rich? And you're like, no, he didn't. And you think that's more noble that he kept the money as opposed to maybe sharing that with the people who actually brought him the sales? Now, there was a time that maybe that stuff was hard to track. But in today's, technology, they know who brought who. I mean, this stuff's easy to track. And if you're the one bringing me a bunch of sales, why is it bad? I want to reward you for that and say, hey, you know what? You just brought me 50 customers. Hey, here's some money because I didn't have to hire a salesman to make those sales. I didn't have to advertise on television to make those sales. Instead, you told a few who told a few. So I took that money that's normally wasted on television, which who watches TV commercials anymore? Everyone DVRs their shows and fast forwards through the commercials, right? And so I took that money I used to waste on television, I paid it to you. And so is it better to give it to ABC, CBS, or is it better to give it to actual working moms and dads who are trying to make a difference in their lives and take care of their kids and their communities?
So the other question that I pretty often face is where the money's coming from. And actually, that was my question for a lot. To be honest, I have a few friends that were involved in network marketing. So that's how I know that this is a decent industry, because I know the people, I know that they're decent. I just never were interested in exactly in the product that they were working with. But anyway, I just know that it's not a scam. So it was easier for me. But every time they were coming to me like, hey, would you like to be involved? And my first question was where money's coming from, because I believe that I'm a reasonable person. So I'm just trying to understand, if you promise me that I will join the company and I will start making like six figures in a couple of years, I just want to figure out where the six figures are coming from, right? So because how it works in pyramid, I understand it, because they take money from the lower people, give it to the upper, and then everybody's run away with this money. So I understand how the scam works, but how does it work in the network marketing? Where all this money is coming from?
What you just described, though, is the place most people work. How does the CEO of the company make millions per year while the guy on the factory floor making the cars is making nothing? Because all those guys at the bottom are doing all the work that's feeding that guy that's at the top. So again, that's how the structure of most traditional companies work right now. And a network marketing company, the way it works is that when you're selling a product to a consumer, hey, I found this incredible product, I really like it, I think you should check it out. Somebody decides to buy that product. Again, all of that money that used to be spent on radio ads, television ads, marketing people, the people who make all those commercials. I mean, a Super Bowl commercial alone cost $7 million for 30 seconds. But that doesn't even include all the people that were involved in making the commercial. They might have spent $7 million to get the commercial made that they ran for 30 seconds. So the commercial actually cost me $14 million. Hey, I got a better idea. What if we took that $14 million and rather than bet it on a 30-second commercial where nobody may buy? I mean, somebody may like the commercial. Man, that commercial is really bad. They bombed on that one. No one even bought the product. They're just out $14 million. Instead, when you look at a network marketing structure, we don't pay any commission until something's sold. When somebody buys something, then we look at all the people that were involved with making that sale and say, hey, give them a piece of the sale. So when the company says we're going to sell a product for $10 or $20 or $50 or $100, so much of that money has been designated for the cost of getting that product to the marketplace, right? Just like any company. I mean, if you're Amazon, I mean, when you buy something off Amazon, hey, there was money that was dedicated to the manufacturing of that product. There was money that was dedicated to putting it on a truck or train, getting it to a distribution warehouse. There was money that was dedicated to getting on a UPS truck to put it on your front door. And there was money that was dedicated to running all those commercials to get the thing even sold or advertised, right? So there's money in this cycle. Well, we take that money, we pay that to you. And a network marketing comp plan is simply a design of how to reward the people who went out and created the sales. Now, again, we're not just doing door to door where you're getting paid on your own effort. We allow you to build a team of people. We allow you to get paid on the network effect. And so a comp plan says, hey, if you tell a few who tell a few, we're not just going to pay you on the people you told or the people they told, but we're going to be on a large sphere of people that were influenced by your original sale, your original recommendation. We're going to pay you on all those people. And then if you're getting a little piece of all those transactions, next thing you know, you're looking at a check that like, hey, I don't have to work a job anymore. In fact, I've never made this kind of money in my life. And this money's coming in every single week consistently, whether I work or not. And when people begin to understand that, they're like, okay, I bought the wrong plan. I bought the wrong model. And Mix, I'll give you a specific example. I've got good friends. They live in Memphis, Tennessee. Of course, Deborah had worked for two different presidential administrations. So she actually worked, for the Bush White House and the Obama White House. And then after the Obama White House, she was 61 and unemployed and looking for something to do. And so her and her husband decided to get involved with a company, and they began to build a business. Deborah had signed up and she was building her own business, and her husband did the same thing. Well, Deborah had gotten about $3,000 per month, some great part-time income. Her husband got to about $2,000 a month, also some great part-time income. Well, then heartbreakingly, her husband, Guy, he had passed away. So he went to be with the Lord. And although Guy was gone, that $2,000 per month check that he built, that check was not gone. That check remains. That check keeps coming in every single week, every single month. This is willable, inheritable, sellable. And so number one, is that how it works at your place of employment? If you were to pass away, would the company keep sending the checks every week to make sure your kids are taken care of? And you're like, no, they would just go hire somebody else. Well, here, if I go out and build a customer base, that check keeps coming in every single week. This is willable, inheritable, sellable. And so that check now goes to his wife, Deborah. And by the way, although he passed away, his business continued to grow. And so 21 months after the time he had died, his check had gone from $2,000 per month to something closer to $8,000 per month. He'd gone from $24,000 a year to about $100,000 per year. He had increased his income by $75,000 per year, which is more money than the average American household even makes. And he did that in the 21 months since he had passed away. And when people begin to realize, wait a minute, hold on. Again, I have bought the wrong plan, because if I don't go to work tomorrow, I don't get paid. If I get sick, I don't get paid. If I get hurt, I don't get paid. If there's another pandemic and they tell me to stay home, I don't get paid. If they can find someone younger than me who'll do the work for less money than me, I don't get paid. If they can embrace technology, automation, artificial intelligence, they can replace me, I don't get paid. You're all living in this economy where people are trying to make sure you don't get paid. And here I got a guy that's not even around anymore, and he's increased his income by $75,000 per year, getting paid every single week. And people are like, nah, I don't think I want a part of that. No, they just don't understand.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. And I can't even imagine how is it possible, because in a world we live now, people just trying to save as much as they can. And the best thing you can expect if you will die, that your company maybe will make a one-time payment to your family for funerals or something. But, again, it's it's far from every company that would do it. So that is really amazing. So,
Mix, you're starting to touch on a subject. I apologize, because I think you're about to touch on a subject that I think we should expound upon, because you mentioned a lot of people have had to, immigrate to the United States or relocate where they were, maybe in other parts of Europe. They've been displaced, and some of them lost their livelihoods. They've lost the homes they built. They've lost the savings account. They lost the nest egg. And, maybe they're 50 years of age, 60 years of age, and they're looking at their retirement years and saying, hey, I don't have anything for retirement. What am I going to retire on? And you're trying to save money. And the only reason you're trying to save money is so you can put money in the bank account and hope that the bank account will pay you interest and that you can live off the interest. But when you get a residual income like we're discussing here, it's the same thing as having money in the bank. I built a sales team that's selling product every single month all across the world, and I'm getting a residual check every month, meaning that I can retire, but I have money that keeps coming in every single month. So this can become a retirement rescue plan for countless people who maybe found themselves in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and realize that they're not set up for retirement years. I mean, a few years here, and you can have a better retirement than you ever dreamed of. I mean, better things can happen. Again, sometimes the setback is a setup for something better. That's a lesson from the Bible.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the last question. What do you think? Because I hear from some people, this is not just for me. All this sales thing, I just cannot do it. I don't know how to do it. I'm not created for it or something. What do you think? Is it really anybody can do something like that, or it's a certain specific people who really can do the network marketing?
Yeah, I think it's specific people who can do network marketing, but those specific people are people that are hungry for something more. Those are people who want something better out of life, right? It's not about being a salesperson. In fact, salespeople tend to struggle in our business. In fact, the profession that does the very best are teachers, and in particular, music teachers. Well, why is that? Because this is more of a teaching business. It takes patience. And if you think about the music teacher trying to teach a kid how to play an instrument, this requires a lot of patience, right? It's going to take a long time before they know how to play that instrument. And a lot of times your band teacher has to, an underfunded department, they don't have always the money. The schools tend to cut the band department. So they have to go do fundraisers and creative things. So they're creative people that are very good at teaching and patient. Those skill sets are more important than having a sales personality. There are people in this industry that are introverts, people that are shy. You and I have a mutual friend, Tatiana. I mean, she's got this very soft voice. I mean, if she were here tonight, she'd say, "Hi, everyone." I mean, like, Tatiana, are you there? Yeah, I'm here. I mean, you can barely hear her. She's got like this, this very soft voice. And yet, I mean, she got involved with a company where she's earning over 100,000 per year after 8 months. I mean, so it doesn't matter whether you're introverted, extroverted, you're a sales type, non-sales type, because this is more of a sharing business, right? But you do have to have a hunger for something more. If you're dissatisfied, you are looking for more money, you're sick and tired of the status quo, you want something better out of life. If you bring that to the table, I can coach anybody in that circumstance how they can have an incredible career inside this industry, inside this business. Again, it's not about knocking on doors. It's not about doing sales. It's not about trying to close people. It's not about trying to convince people to do something that they don't want to do. In fact, I get people sometimes who ask me, Mix, they say, "Todd, tell me, how do you motivate your people?" I don't. I simply find motivated people. I mean, how do you convince people? I don't. I send them the video. If you dig it, great. If not, that's okay too. The ones I sign up are the ones like, "Hey, man, I saw that video. That was great. You got a link? Yeah, sure. I'll send you a link." I mean, you're all capable of sending a link, right? I mean, this is simple, simple, simple. In fact, it's so simple, it's hard. And so, yes, every single one of you have the skill set that's required to succeed. The only question is, do you have the desire? If you have the desire, then the rest is history. You can go make it happen.
So you mean everybody can do it?
That's correct. Everybody can do it if they want to.
All right, Todd. I appreciate you being here and sharing all that information, because I believe it's really important. I would like people to really understand how life's going today, because sometimes we are so stuck with a traditional way of thinking and traditional way of doing things. So it's pretty hard, especially in the world that's changing so fast around us. It's so hard to, to be in a stream, to really be on the way. So I appreciate what you share, and I believe that it will be really helpful for everybody who listened to it. So friends, it's up to you what you're going to do with all this information. Now, just you can go ahead and try to find something good for you. Thank you, Todd. And this was Hawk Talk on Continent and on Radio Zapad. We will see each other in a week. See you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Свобода. Эманация западной цивилизации. Радио Запад. Радио свободных людей.